I'm Derek Joyce and I'm here with Paul O'Murda, and this is I'm Not the Expert, but this is a podcast where we talk about everything from South Park, which we know nothing about, to quantum physics, which we also know nothing about. So grab a cup of tea, sit back and join us. How do you start a podcast about engineering and make it sound interesting?
Well, you can start with a disclaimer.
Yeah,
I think it's important that we do mention. Just a slight trigger warning here, folks. This episode will discuss some horrific incidents of really severe animal cruelty. We won't be going into any kind of graphic detail, but if it's something that you feel that it's probably not for you, it's best to switch off now.
Yeah, no, we're not discussing them, but we are mentioning them because they did happen.
They did happen, and they're absolutely fucking disgusting.
Nikola fucking Tesla.
Nikola fucking Tesla.
In a very good way, and it's not him.
He had nothing to do with it.
The
animal cruelty at all.
Yeah, okay, but we will get there.
Yeah.
He was a genius inventor, and he was way ahead of his time, and he came up with pretty incredible inventions.
Yeah, no.
Some of which we use today, none of which I understand at all.
Most of them I don't, yeah. And full disclosure here, folks, I knew who Nikola Tesla was. I'd heard of him. I knew there was the whole Edison-Tesla thing.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I knew feck all. Literally not the expert on this one.
Well,
done the research, and I think I still know feck all. A lot of it's over my head.
It's the right podcast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We are not the experts on this one this time.
I read up on this, and I was... You know, you'd Google search Nikola Tesla and then Nikola Tesla inventions, and then it goes down through them. And he has over 300 patents or something like that. Like, he'd fucking loads of them. Yeah. But then I started Nikola Tesla inventions for idiots. And I was literally writing in for idiots because I might get it explained simpler to me, which I didn't. But I mean, how do you explain engineering for idiots?
I know, yeah.
You know,
it's not even the engineering side of things that I struggle with. It's the physics, the electrical current, AC/DC. I mean, even that is a struggle for me.
My understanding of electrical current, AC/DC, is A, it's a band, which is the dad joke of the century because everybody will say it at some stage. B, you flick the switch and energy comes out of the wall.
Yeah, that's
beyond
my
that,
knowledge of electricity.
I'll change a plug.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
change a fuse.
I'll change a plug and second guess myself until I plug it in and switch the switch and the bulb doesn't explode.
That's about my level of electrical knowledge as well. So yeah, but,
all respect to engineers, but I'm not.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, with no pun intended, I'm not wired that way.
No pun intended.
It really isn't a pun I intended, but yeah.
And you should be in Callahan's saloon with puns like that.
Who?
It's a novel from way back called Callahan's Intergalactic Saloon or something. But
never heard of it.
Every Tuesday is pun day.
All right, okay. Anyway, Nikola Tesla. He was born on the 9th or 10th of July in 1856.
Yeah, I love that 9th or 10th. He was born at midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, but
in between the 2 days, and they couldn't, they weren't sure of the exact minute, whether it was just before midnight or just after. And even more spookily, he was born during a violent lightning storm.
Yeah, and wasn't there something about it being bad luck or good luck or something?
I don't know, but it's just...
Which makes no sense, because, I mean, when I read he was born 9th/10th of July, 1856, I was saying, isn't that a typical, accurate, scientific engineering statement to make? 9th/10th.
9th
very
or
accurate
10th,
and specific.
Not sure.
Yeah. And then to write in a few sentences later that it was thought to be bad luck, superstitions. That's totally incongruous.
Yeah, totally non-scientific. Yeah. No, I understand, but I just thought it was really prescient. That he was born during a violent lightning storm. Considering what he went on to
be. Yeah.
What he went on to invent, particularly his coil later on, that I'm sure we're going to talk about.
His father was an Orthodox priest.
But yeah.
And his ma, who was really, really intelligent, was completely unschooled.
That's right, and she
Isn't
used
that fucking
to.
Typical.
Yeah, And she used to modify her sewing machines and stuff to make them more efficient.
Yeah.
And she was always inventing little ways of, of doing stuff. So that's
So
where
he didn't lick it off
clearly
a
got it
rock.
from,
That's where he got it.
from her, yeah.
Yeah. And from a young age, he showed the capacity for a remarkable imagination
Yeah.
and aptitude
almost
for
a kind of
invention
a-
and creation.
Don't want to be, amateur psychologist here, but from what I was reading and listening to, it screamed kind of childhood schizophrenia a little bit.
I
Where
don't
like
know.
he would go off into his own little imaginary world. He couldn't differentiate between pictures and reality.
I
Something I came across.
didn't.
So, that was massive red flag for me anyway when I seen that.
No, I didn't read that. I did see a headline about him not being able to make the separation, but in the days, months, and years before they knew what anything
Yeah.
was on a spectrum,
Exactly, yeah.
they just label it as this,
Mm.
and you fucking weirdo,
Yeah.
or you live outside the bounds of
Yeah.
society. He was a hell of a poet as well.
Was he? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, didn't know he was
Apparently, he was a really
Wordsworth.
good poet. He was a great wordsmith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Do you know one of his idols was Mark Twain?
One of his idols.
Yeah.
One of his friends.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
In later life, yes.
Yeah.
I was going to
But
get.
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will.
After he left school, he went to the Technical University in Graz in Austria. He was born, what I got confused was, he was born in Smiljan in the Austrian Empire, but that's now
right.
Croatia.
Yeah, it's modern day Croatia.
That's where I was getting confused.
It's interesting you say he went to school in Graz. You know who Graz's most famous son is?
No.
Arnie Schwarzenegger.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
There you go. You learn something new
Learn
today.
something new every day.
That's it.
In 1882, he went to work for Continental Edison Company in Paris.
Okay.
Which I was like, is that like Edison? Or is it just a coincidence?
No.
And I looked it up and it was
the same Edison, yeah.
Yeah, Edison's company.
Yeah.
Or at least he was the one.
Yeah.
Contract signed, lent them his name and that's
well, yeah, he was the CEO, but he was based in America,
yeah,
basically. But I think didn't Nikola kind of excel himself so well there that he came to the attention of them and they kind of said, you should go, and work directly with Thomas Edison side by side, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Pretty sure that's...
He went to, in 1884, so a couple of years later, because he started with them in 1882.
Yeah, it was his manager in the Edison company in Paris, basically, said, I quote, he wrote to Thomas Edison and he said, I know two great men. One of them is Thomas Edison and the other is this guy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that was the introduction that he was given. Like he gave him a letter of introduction and he went off then over to New York, So he's like, yeah.
Okay, well, that's a bit strange. And I will get to that. I'll circle back around to that.
Yeah.
Because it was 1884 that he went to America.
Yeah.
1883, he was on assignment in Strasbourg.
Right.
And he constructed his first induction motor.
Yeah.
In his spare time.
That's right. And I think that was when the guy kind of said, hang on, there's something special about this guy. He's not your average.
Yeah. Because
average bear,
what I do in my spare time is construct induction motors.
Yeah. Just like as you do.
So it's now my spare time. I'll probably animate or draw something or
script the podcast.
or script the podcast. His hobby was building induction motors.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. And I mean,
research and electricity.
Is there the satisfaction? And if anybody who is of this persuasion is listening, is there the same satisfaction when you build it and it works that you get when you like cooking, so you're a chef and you cook dinner and people enjoy it? Is it that same kind of satisfaction?
I would imagine so, yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when I draw, animate or create something and it works. I was animating a run cycle and the character had long hair, and secondary action of the person running is the hair moving, and it's hard to get. And 3/4 of the way through, I was animating this. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as opposed to 1, 3, 6, and then in between. And halfway through, I was just having a look at it and rolling it, and I was like, "This is gonna fucking work." And that sense of achievement
Yeah.
before I'd finished,
That
is it the same
satisfaction.
sense of achievement?
I would imagine so.
You know,
yeah.
it has to be.
Probably
Yeah.
on a bigger scale, considering like you've just
A
invented
much
something that didn't
grander
exist
scale.
before, you know.
A much grander scale. yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, as you said, in 1884, he went to America. And you said with a letter of recommendation.
Yeah.
Now, one, I wondered how he got into work with Edison, because
Yeah.
I'd imagine that was a level you had to achieve.
Yeah, no. it
So
was the
he
letter-
must have had that letter. But
Yeah, it was
he
the guy who was
also-
running the facility in either Strasbourg or Paris, I'm not sure which. You know, like his immediate superior basically recognised his talent and said, "Here, you need to go
Yeah.
and work with the boss."
Okay,
you know?
which is strange to me because when he went to America, he had 4 cents in his pocket. CENTS.
Jesus
4
Christ.
cents in
Didn't
his
know
pocket. And a handful of poems.
that. Right, okay.
And it's like, you need to go to fucking America and work side by side with this man because you're both brilliant. Good luck.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, we're not paying for you to go
Yeah,
or
but
anything, but
I'm not paying for you to go. I'm telling you.
yeah.
I know maybe they bought his ticket,
Possibly, yeah.
you know. But anyway, he had fuck all money when he went there.
Jeez, that's mad.
Yeah, and he had calculations for a flying machine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Not unlike our modern day helicopters, I believe.
I don't know what kind it was.
Oh, yeah, it's
yeah.
a helicopter type thing. Yeah, but he got the whole kind of cyclical. I don't know whether you're familiar with how helicopters operate. Though you've got like your.
I don't fly them.
I've read a fair bit on helicopter pilot, and I haven't flown one myself. Basically, you've got the rudder pedals at your feet, right? You know, left, right, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your stick, basically, yeah, that changes your pitch and your yaw, and then you have the other hand. You have like a motorbike throttle on the end of the yoke, so you turn that. That increases the rotor speed on the tail, and then you move it up or down. Changes the angle of the blades on the big rotor, and that makes you go up or down.
It's
So,
sounds
yeah.
like it's so complicated just
It-
explaining it.
I know, yeah.
It
You've
sounds
got your
like
free hand.
a really dangerous version of drumming.
yeah, no, it is something like that.
Fucking-
But basically, that was similar to the idea that Tesla actually came up with, was that you're controlling both of the rotor blades separately, or even using a rear rotor blade on the tail to keep it in kind of steady.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
was his idea. So there you go.
That's nuts.
Mm,
That's nuts. Because the Wright brothers had their fucking airplane thing.
yeah,
Wasn't that like, that was, and I just looked it up, so this is not knowledge that I have accessible in my head,
yeah,
was 1903.
yeah. Well, you know, bearing in mind, 60 years later, we were walking on the moon.
Yeah.
You know, it was a time of great invention. It really was. Like
The leaps and bounds that we've moved
Yeah.
on with is fucking nuts.
from the beginning of the 20th century
The timing.
up to even the mid 20th century, like just
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's progress has been scary. He went to America with the note that you're talking about in his
Yeah.
pocket, 4 cents, bunch of poetry,
Right.
and calculations for a flying machine,
Right.
as you do, as most of us have from day to day. And
Well, if you're going to, emigrate to a whole new country, a whole new society,
You bring
they're
your
the
best
things you
shit.
bring with you.
Yeah.
They're the things
Yeah.
you bring with you. Hopes,
I've-
dreams, and a helicopter plan.
Yeah.
Love it.
and calculations for a flying machine.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. One of his first jobs was for Thomas Edison.
Yeah.
And he would have rocked up there on the Monday morning and says, "How's lads? I'm the guy that's in the letter."
Yeah. I'm the great man that he knows.
Yeah, I'm the other great mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
And almost instantly, there was a conflict of interests of sorts because they did things so differently and they were from such different backgrounds.
Mm.
And
Edison was privileged, wasn't he?
I didn't even look into Edison because this is not about inventors.
No, it's just about, but I mean,
This-
you can't talk about Nikola Tesla without talking about Edison.
Well, no, you need to mention them in the same sentence. I'm just
Yeah,
saying I don't
absolutely.
know anything about Edison other than he's the light bulb guy.
Is he though?
I don't know.
Or is that Nikola?
Or was that somebody else? Was that
No, isn't that
fucking...
the thing though, wasn't it? That, Edison got all the credit, but it was actually Nikola Tesla's inventions?
Yeah, if it had been the other way around and it was some other inventor's name that was written into that title, people would be saying is it his or was it somebody else? And there's
yeah.
always that.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, no, I do,
perpetual
yeah.
argument.
Yeah.
It's a cyclical thing, and it just does not end.
Yeah.
So he didn't last long there, and I'm not sure at what date he left.
Yeah, they became great friends initially, but then they had the falling out over AC/DC.
Not the band.
Yeah, they're going to be joke now.
Sorry,
one of them like Stairway to Heaven and one of them didn't. Even though Stairway to Heaven is Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, it's a good job you're not doing that job.
Back in Black, and the other didn't.
Highway to Hell.
Yeah, that was the one I was looking for.
Yeah, Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, look, a squirrel.
I was going to edit that. I'm the fucking editing it now.
Leave that in. That's staying in. Right, anyway. Okay, so my understanding of it was that Nikola Tesla was working on this theory of alternating current, where the current travels in both directions and it changes like 50 times a second or something. I really don't understand how it works.
I don't understand it at all. You flick the switch in the wall and it comes on.
Yeah, right.
That's all
but Edison's idea was for direct current, where electricity only travels in one direction. It's less efficient, but according to Edison, was safer.
Okay.
Basically, what happened then was Edison had set Tesla working on his direct current machines, that, I don't know, inventing, improving these machines, but they were all direct current, and it sapped the life out of Tesla because he knew that direct current wasn't fucking the way to go. It was going to be obsolete, and he was wasting his fucking time, basically. So it came to a head anyway, and he left.
Okay. Because that's way more into engineering than I got through any of what I was looking at. It's like,
and then did you get as far as the Chicago Expo?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Which we will get to down the road.
Which is probably coming up now, I'd say, is it? Or near enough? Because that was a big part of the kind of split.
Okay. In May 1888, this other inventor, because there were fucking loads of them, it was like they were stood on a corner with a handwritten sign saying inventor for hire.
Yeah, it was the age of invention.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Yeah.
This other inventor, George Westinghouse.
That's the guy, yeah.
And he was Massachusetts, wasn't he?
I'm not sure.
New
England anyway, yeah.
I think so. I couldn't, if you're thinking these guys don't know what they're fucking talking about.
We don't.
Yeah.
We're not the experts.
Freely admit it, yeah. Look at the title of the fucking podcast.
Yeah. I'll always refer to that.
This guy, Westinghouse, he bought the rights to Tesla's polyphase system.
Right.
Which I only know the name of, and I know very little
I'm assuming that's his kind of...
Yeah.
His AC.
Okay.
Yeah.
A polyphase system is a means of distributing alternating current. My understanding of it was this alternating current was less wear and tear on the machinery, the components. Not components makes it sounds computery and circuit boardy, and that's not what I'm talking about.
No, it would have been more the actual electrical cables.
Yeah. The hardware. Yeah.
The infrastructure.
And it's more efficient than direct current that was being used at the time.
Yeah.
It's more efficient because it's better for the machinery because it extends the life up to 40%.
Yeah.
So you need to replace less parts. You need to do less maintenance. There's less downtime, all this kind of thing. And that's essentially why Tesla and Edison fell out, because Edison was banging the direct current
into everything
corner.
Yeah.
And he was fighting out of that place. And Tesla was saying, no, it's alternate current. And it was alternate current, the polyphase system, that Westinghouse eventually bought.
Yeah.
Well,
and it became known as the Current Wars.
Which
might be a title for this podcast.
Sultana fights. Sultana
fights. Raisin battle.
Yeah.
The battle of the raisins.
Anyway, this is where the titanic struggle between Edison's DC and Westinghouse Tesla AC started.
Yeah.
And such was Edison's, what's the word I'm thinking of when you're stuck in your position and you refuse to budge from it?
Intransigent.
Yeah. Such was Edison's intransigence. He did open demonstrations for people about the dangers of AC.
Yeah, and current. That's where our disclaimer comes in.
And that's where he would electrocute animals.
Yeah, And I just want to go a little bit more in depth into that because this is fucking vile.
Okay, not much more though.
No.
Okay, because
He
I
was
can't handle this. Never
paying-
mind people listening to this.
He was paying kids to bring their family pets to be publicly electrocuted to try and discredit Tesla's AC as unsafe.
This is unsafe
Right.
because this is what can happen
This is
to
what
you.
can happen to you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Then the events themselves, the electrocutions themselves, became so popular that he started to do them for entertainment. Right. And then, people got pissed off watching dogs and cats being electrocuted. So then he did a horse. And he eventually electrocuted an elephant that he had bought from a circus.
Yeah, I read that.
Scumbag.
Yeah, fucking scumbag.
Absolute scumbag.
I didn't know about the horse and the cats and dogs, but I did read about the elephant.
Yeah.
And I've adopted 2 elephants.
That's right, yeah.
And I was like, you fucking maggot.
Scumbag.
It's really annoying.
Scumbag, yeah.
Had
I
to
was
stop
look,
and...
Look, I know it's a different era, it's a different age, but no, a scumbag's a fucking scumbag as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
So
anyway,
that's all I have to say about that.
Thankfully, AC won in the end.
And I think it was the expo. What was the full name of that expo?
The Chicago World's Fair?
No, it wasn't the World's Fair.
No, that was the
a
Niagara
different
Falls
one.
thing.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
it was a different one. There was an expo in Chicago anyway. I'm not sure the year though. And basically, Edison had the contract to light it, and Westinghouse and Tesla underbid him by $1 million. Basically saying they could do it using AC for $1 million cheaper than what Edison could do it for using direct current. Now, at the time, that was a fairly big boast, and it wasn't technically true. Like, they didn't know how they were going to do it for that price, but they did actually manage to do it, though.
Okay.
They came in £1 million cheaper, yeah.
I don't know about £1 million, but I did read that there was this World's Fair going off, and Westinghouse/Tesla brought power to it for the thing, for whatever the cost they brought was $150,000, which is basically $1 million.
That was adjusted for inflation. But
it was $150,000 less
cheaper
than
what
Tesla would have brought with his direct current.
Yeah,
which
is £1 million, and
which is
and all that.
1,000 million quid in today's money.
Yeah. That was the end then of DC, really. That was when the investors and stuff started to realise that, AC is the future and DC is Betamax.
Yeah.
There's a reference for the 70s.
Yeah. Yep. But anyway, AC won in the end, and Tesla eventually started his own lab where he had free reign. Right? So the money was rolling in at that stage. He experimented with shadow graphs, similar to those that this guy, Wilhelm Röntgen, or what I can never pronounce his
Röntgen,
name.
That's...
He won a Nobel Prize for.
He did.
And it was a precursor to X-rays.
Yeah.
He won his Nobel Prize in 1901.
Yeah. And you know what they
Tesla
measure...
wrote him and congratulated him.
Yeah. You know what they measure radiation poisoning in?
Yeah, that's what...
Röntgen's.
Yeah, and that's it. That's obviously it's an honor of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was great.
It was Tesla who first theorised that X-rays were, in fact, dangerous to humans.
There is evidence that he was messing around with what Wilhelm Röntgen got his Nobel Prize for, but wasn't it the lab fire that destroyed all those things?
That was much later. I think the lab fire destroyed something like 50 patents that he had never actually, he wasn't...
Well, he didn't do shadow graphs, but they were destroyed in the lab fire.
Yeah. But the other thing as well, and, just talking about that lab fire, as well as this thing where he couldn't tell the difference between pictures and reality and stuff that we talked about earlier, he had an absolute aversion to diagrams. So he never actually drew...
He'd have fucking hated me.
Yeah, he never drew anything. It was all he would write notes, he'd have bits of notes here, bits of notes there, whatever. Never done any diagrams. Basically...
But he was a poet.
Yeah, but basically all of his notes were of use really only to him. Because he could see this stuff in his head, you know what I mean? He didn't need the diagram on paper, He
knew what it looked like.
That's mad.
Nuts. Yeah, anyway, going back to his battle with Edison and AC/DC thing, the DC-AC battle. In order to allay fears of AC that Edison was attempting to fucking destroy with his whole animal bullshit.
Animal murder sideshow,
bastard. He lit lamps. Tesla, lit fluorescent tubes by allowing electricity to flow through his body.
Wow, sorry, just having a
Now,
little drink there. Sorry. Wow.
It's not like
wow,
it's similar to, you know, when you put your hand on a ball
yeah. What
in
are
a
they
science
called?
fair. Oh, I can't forget the static electricity
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and your hair stands up. It was that.
I remember doing one of those at the RDS.
It's low current, high
Young scientist
frequency, or something like
Yeah.
that. I can't remember, but it wasn't dangerous, and it obviously wasn't dangerous.
Yeah, I
And
remember
so
seeing
he
one
was
of those
lighting bulbs. He'd hold
spheres at
a
the
bulb or a fluorescent tube,
yeah.
and he would light it through his body, and he was
Deadly.
like, "Lads, I'm okay. I'm still
Yeah.
here." You know, that kind of
I'm a
crack.
conductor.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, just do a little Google there and find out what those spheres are called. I remember seeing one at the RDS Young Scientist
Yeah,
exhibition
you've seen them
when I was
everywhere.
only
Yeah.
Jesus 8 or 9, and I just remember being absolutely fascinated.
Yeah. I wonder what kind of electricity Edison was using to electrocute the animals. It
Well,
must have been.
It was AC, but he was just literally putting live wires around their legs and just
Yeah. No, it was just how he was using it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, much in the same way as the electric chair works,
Yeah.
But
Bastard.
anyway, let's just move away from that.
Yeah,
now,
okay.
we've had enough of that now.
Okay. Tesla invented the Tesla coil in 1891, which is still widely used today in radio and TV sets.
Yeah,
I don't know so much about TV sets because we have small, thin ones. The big cathode ray.
Yeah. Yeah, CRT screens.
CRT.
Yeah.
They're probably those.
Do you know what the mad thing about those was, Dale? It was only when I was working in Siemens that I actually learned this the hard way. When you plug out a CRT, the capacitors inside it maintain a charge for up to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So what we used to have to do was we'd wear an anti-static wristband, and we would touch a screwdriver off the side of the CRT like that. There'd be a metal kind of frame inside it, so we'd be earthed it, and then we'd touch it, and that would, whatever that does magically bloody discharges the capacitors. But I got an awful bang off on one day.
Fun.
There you go.
All that shit makes me nervous. I watched a video on 8 years ago, so I'm trying to remember it. I watched a video on this guy who was talking about his career. He was narrating a video while people were doing the actions. He was like, it's still done. We're doing the actions that he was talking about. And there was this guy, and they maintain the high voltage wires on the overhead power lines. But the ones in America,
right?
The ones that are fucking 500 feet or whatever, 300 or whatever it is, they're so high.
Right.
And I was looking at that, I was going, fuck that shit. As this helicopter pulls into it,
right,
and your man arses himself over to the edge of the thing and puts his foot down on the helicopter skid.
Jesus.
And he leans out and he has one of these poles, and I suspect it's to conduct the thing. And he's got a fucking Faraday suit on. You know, Faraday, the
Faraday cage.
Yeah, a Faraday cage suit on.
Yeah.
And he's wearing his high vis and he's got his tools. And he touches the high voltage wire, and you see the electricity making connections to it before he touches it.
Jesus.
And he is then part of that. And the electricity is flowing through his Faraday
cage, yeah.
And he gets on and he shimmies over to the box that he needs to work on or maintain or whatever it is, and then works on it. Then the helicopter comes back, picks him up, and he climbs back onto the helicopter with the pole still touching the high voltage wire. Right. And that's the last thing that he takes off.
Is the pole.
Just to separate just when the current is separated and the connection is broken, it's not on his suit and he doesn't die. Jesus. And it's fucking amazing. And if you look on YouTube, you'll find it. I'll try and find it, and if I find it, I'll post it under this.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that.
It's like he was pulling over in the helicopter, and I was looking at the distance to the ground, and I was going, fuck that shit.
And that's basically why I would never have even contemplated being an electrician. It's like, why fuck around with something that can kill you? Like every day.
Well, yeah,
every day. No.
Traffic.
No, but you're not fucking around with it though.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at the distance to the ground, and I was going, fuck that shit. And then I watched the video and I thought, and fuck everything else he did after I said fuck that shit.
Yeah.
No
Hitting
way.
the ground is probably the least likely thing to kill him that day.
I'll see if I can find the link and I'll post it under this on Facebook when we release it. But Jesus,
I'm dying to watch that now.
it's so
That's
interesting,
fucked up.
and I'd love to see it again, but it's just something I'd never do.
Yeah.
I'd love to do a parachute jump. I'd love to do a base
Don't
jump.
stick forks in the sockets, kids.
Don't stick forks in the sockets. Don't climb into helicopters. Go up to high voltage power lines. Earth
I bet
yourself.
he was the type of child back in the day that did stick forks and go
Yeah.
in sockets.
His dad was the kind of guy who said, no, he has to learn.
He just getting shot across the room.
You wanted that again, will you? So 1898, he announced the invention. Tesla, everything is Tesla, announced the invention of a tele-automatic boat which worked by remote control.
Yeah.
And everybody
Wirelessly.
went, yeah, right.
Yeah, there's a monkey inside that operating it.
He
Wasn't that what he was
he
accused
demonstrated. He gave a demonstration,
Yeah.
and it worked.
And he was accused of having a monkey hidden away inside the boat.
remote. He had remote control.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
I mean,
Wireless, yeah. Before radio.
insane.
Absolutely nuts.
Nuts. And it was,
No idea how he did it or how it worked. And that's not what we're here to talk about today. So,
if
you're
you want to
looking for
know
an
how it
insight
works,
into how
go
things
listen
work.
to an engineering podcast.
Yeah, because we're not the experts.
Yeah, all you get here is mystery and lots of questions without answers.
Lots of what the fuck moments, basically, is what we do, isn't it?
It was, I mean, before the turn of the century, and the 20th century, before that started,
Yeah, back in the 19th century.
he had himself a remote control boat to play with.
Yeah. Oh, come here and I tell you, just talking about the turn of the century. Rosie turns around the other day and referred to the 90s as the late 1900s. I felt so old.
Yeah, I would too.
That's scary.
Yeah, I've heard my nephews talk about, when was that? And that was back in the 70s. When was that? The 70s, 80s? No, it was the 80s. And they go, how long ago was that? And you go, well, the 80s, 90s, 90s. And you're like 45 fucking years ago.
I know, it's fucking frightening, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, God. And I was an
30
adult
years
then.
ago
You're
the
like,
other
well,
day.
I wasn't.
It was 30 years ago the other day since the Lansdowne riots. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
30 fucking years ago. How was that? That's
Yeah.
Mad.
Nuts. Yeah. Horrible. I hate memory.
I have less of it these days, so it's not too bad.
Yeah. Hate memory.
The older you get, the less memory you have.
So when everybody said, fucking, yeah, right, Tesla, shut up.
Yeah.
He said,
there's a monkey in
hold
there.
my beer. Or something to similar effect.
Yeah.
And then he fucking proved them all wrong.
Mm.
And he gave his successful demonstration in Madison Square Gardens.
That's right, yeah.
Fucking deadly. Deadly.
Well, like that was the mentality back then. That was, this is a magic trick. There has to be a hidden monkey in there driving the fucking submarine. It's like, what? Or the boat, rather.
Yeah.
The submarine was a boat.
Yeah.
It's just...
But
As Arthur C. Clarke, when science is sufficiently advanced, it is indiscernible from magic.
yeah, well, that's just it. I mean,
that's
if you see that fucking fluorescent tube over there, watch this.
Mm.
Not go near it, and you light it, and there's obviously wires. You say, go and check it. You go and check it, and there's no wires, and you're like, magic.
Mm.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So it's nuts. It's deadly. Between
Electricity is like
1899 to early 1900, Tesla made what he regarded as his greatest invention: the terrestrial stationary waves.
Yeah, now he got in a bit of trouble with Jacob Astor, I believe. He of the Titanic.
Go on.
He had funded him to research radio and radio control and stuff, and he had paid him quite a
Handsomely.
significant amount of money to go and research that, and he spent that money and time researching the terrestrial stationary waves. Yeah. So that was the end of Astor's involvement with him.
Okay, but when he did invent or discover these terrestrial stationary waves, he proved that the planet Earth could be used at a certain frequency, which is 369 hertz. As a conductor, he could ring it like a bell.
Wow.
And lots of people, again, were saying, yeah, fucking right.
See, again, that's going over my head. How do you mean by ring it like a bell?
He could use the frequency of Earth to conduct electricity. He lit 200 lamps without wires.
Yeah, no, I get that.
From
I
a distance
that. No, I thought you meant he actually made it vibrate and make a sound.
Well, everything is vibration.
Yeah, but I thought you meant literally bing.
No, everything is vibration. That's just frequency. What you're hearing is within the frequency range.
Yeah. No,
but,
I thought I took you literally there. When you said you could ring it like a bell, I thought he literally made the earth ping.
So, as I was saying,
sorry,
he lit 200 lamps without wires from a distance of 25 miles.
That's right, yeah.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
He could use it to do... He was discovering and
this is
inventing.
where I get so confused. Like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, how does that... What? What?
You get reincarnated as Nikola Tesla, and that's how you fucking do it.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, what's he doing there? He's manipulating electricity to travel through the air at a certain frequency that is then picked up by those bulbs, isn't it?
You like Star Trek, don't you?
Yeah.
Just think subspace.
Yeah, subspace communication.
That's the only explanation I have.
Okay,
yeah. I haven't a fucking clue.
I don't know how that works either.
Yeah, you don't need to know. You just need to switch it on.
No, I know what you're saying, though. It's basically there's a sensor in those light bulbs that are, well, not even a sensor. It's those light bulbs are configured to be powered at a certain frequency. And
the fluorescent gas in those light bulbs react to what they're receiving.
Yeah.
To the environment.
To a certain
And when I was reading this, all that was going through my head was Wi-Fi. Fucking Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
It doesn't affect you, me, or anybody listening to this. And if you're listening to this on a bus, anybody else on the bus, but you receive Wi-Fi to your phone. So whatever he was using, it's all around us.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only way I can put it together.
Yeah, but was he not? That's what I'm saying. Was he not generating the electricity 50 miles away?
I hope that question is rhetorical because I don't know.
That's pretty much what I'm talking about. Because like you were saying, he was able to light bulbs from 50 miles away. He was basically broadcasting electricity at a certain frequency that could be detected by those bulbs 50 miles away. He was...
That sounds along the lines of what I understood.
Picking it up out of the atmosphere and just lighting up, because then they would light up from everywhere or anywhere. He was actually sending electricity through the air at a certain frequency.
But that's,
at a frequency that only those bulbs could,
only
detect.
That gas reacts with. Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's not only mad, it's fucking insane.
It's insanely mad, and it means free electricity.
Well,
which is why he was kind of hampered by his investors and his backers, wasn't it? Because he wanted to do this for free.
When I was reading it, and I'm scratching my head here trying to put it into words, when I was reading it, I was going, there's no way this shit is going to fly because there's no money to be made.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So if everything's free, how do you charge?
Yeah, I mean, look at the guys that were backing him, Jacob Astor, JP Morgan.
Yeah.
Even your man Westinghouse, who was quite philanthropic as well, which we'll get to later, of course. Yeah, but these are money men. That's what these are. So they want a return on their investment. If he wants to provide free energy for the planet, there's what's in it for me? That's what they're asking.
Yeah. Tesla also once claimed to have received signals from another planet.
Oh yeah.
But that was met with derision in the scientific community.
It's very interesting, though.
And I was thinking about it. And the signals he might have been receiving were possibly the vibrations of another planet. The way he was picking up Earth's frequency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or,
because they were regular as well.
Well, and the fact that you say it's regular, maybe they were pulsars.
Yeah,
because pulsars are very regular.
And that was why he was convinced it was intelligence, because it was...
Yeah. And that's what makes me think more pulsars. Because when pulsars were first directed, did they not go, that's so uniform. It's a signal. It's
metronomic,
ding, ding. That's got to be a signal. And that's what they were. And they only realised later on they're pulsars. And what they do is they do rotate
Yeah.
so fast, and that it's a rhythmic signal.
Cool.
So
I'd
maybe
say that's probably, that makes a lot of sense. Way more sense than little grey Martians anyway.
Well, it didn't even occur to me that it was little green Martians. I was thinking pulsars, but I was thinking maybe it's the frequency of another planet that he's picking up. And all these people are saying, you're fucking full of shit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
Well, I mean, he jumped straight to aliens. He done Rimmer in Red Dwarf, any unexplained phenomena. Aliens.
Yeah, Velcro and magic. That's what it is. Everything is explained with Velcro and magic.
Yeah.
That's
or
all.
aliens.
Yeah. This was like, I was reading Bill Bryson's A Short History of Nearly Everything.
He's great.
Which is my go-to book. I love it.
It is your go-to book, yeah.
And it was around this time that they were declaring, science is done, lads. We've figured everything out. Sorted. No need to worry. Go back to what you were doing. Everything's done.
We know everything.
Yeah. So,
no need for Google. We know everything.
Was the scientific minds you're meeting. I'm not saying they were idiots, but they were closed at that point.
Yeah.
If that was the case, So when he came up and said, I have this signal and I received it from outer space, and they're going,
like,
yeah, right. On your bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I read somewhere as well that he publicly stated that he was going to disprove Einstein's theory of relativity.
I don't know.
He did, yeah, but obviously he didn't follow through on that.
Or it got destroyed in the fire. Well, good job he didn't.
Maybe you did.
Yeah. Good job he didn't, because it turned out to be fucking true, didn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Anyway.
Yeah, like he wasn't omni-successful. Like he had many, many failures. Which is typical of science.
It's all the failures that lead to the discovery. Like you don't very, and I'm not an inventor, but very rarely you go down one path and get to the end of it and go, fuck me, I was right.
Yeah. Did we get to his tower? Yeah.
No, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah. That was...
So he returned to New York in 1900, and Tesla began construction of his wireless world broadcasting tower.
Yeah, this is not... No, this is...
And that
what year was that again? Give me that
1900.
Yeah.
And that would furnish the world with the ability to send images.
Century.
That would furnish the world with the ability to send images, send messages, weather warnings, and stock market reports. Yeah. Because that was all people wanted to know.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the century.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
News, music, financial information.
Not even music, man.
Photos. Yeah, no, he did say music. Yeah.
No, but I mean, that wasn't on all these capitalists.
No.
Minds.
Yeah. I know what you're
stock reports, weather, shipping,
news,
all that kind of shit, you know? I read it a couple of days ago, and it still blows my mind.
Yeah. Did you see the one where...
1900, the beginning of the 20th century.
Yeah.
And he's talking about...
a worldwide interconnected web of communications. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to go even one step further, Dale, he had a little device with a wire aerial that was able to pick up the signal from this tower. Sound familiar?
Yeah. It's...
Yeah. Mobile phone. 1900.
A mind ahead of its time doesn't do him justice.
No, it doesn't. I mean, fucking time traveler, more like.
Fucking nuts. Mad.
But
brilliant.
Yeah, he was brilliant, but he was quite nuts too.
But that's genius.
That is genius. Yeah. Show me a genius who's not fucking, show me a very stable genius and I'll show you a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Well, I claim to be a very stable genius. I'm an idiot.
But he was absolutely a genius. I think that bit is completely non-negotiable.
For this tower, he got an initial 150,000 in capital from JP Morgan.
That's right.
And it was, I think, how tall was it?
160
something
meters,
like that.
I think, yeah. There's great photographs of it online.
Yeah, there is, and you'll find them. And we will post a couple.
And it looks like a water tower that you'd see over, the fucking Warner Brothers water tower. It's kind of similar to that, but it has a big kind of steel dome on the top of it.
Yeah, a big copper brass thing on top of it. Yeah,
a big dome on top.
That weighed a few tons, and it went into the ground more than it did up.
Yeah,
like it went in 300 feet or something like that, or something.
Yeah, and bear in mind, guys, this is essentially what we're talking about. Is you think back to the early mobile phone masts? that used to blight the landscape. It's essentially a big fucking one of them he built, isn't it? In 1900.
Yeah, beginning of the 20th century. All I keep saying is beginning of the 20th
It would be
century.
85 to 90 years before anyone else was able to actually pull it off, you know?
Metal.
Yeah.
Tesla claimed he got the loan by assigning 51% of his patent rights
That's right.
of his telephony and telegraphy to Morgan.
That's right. Yeah.
And so
he
if
would
he
have full
believed in
control
this,
of everything, basically.
if he believed in this as much as he did, he
Mm.
was willing to sign over that.
Yeah. Full control to the money man.
Yeah.
It was never about money for him.
No.
And he never had much money.
No.
He like all the investments that he got, like he put them into the science. He didn't keep any for himself, you know. It was all
No, everything went back in.
Yeah.
Everything went back into the inventions.
Yeah.
The project was abandoned due to financial panic
Yeah.
because of cost overruns, labour problems, and JP Morgan pulling his funding.
Yeah, he had promised them basically wireless technology within 6 months, and I think 2 years later there was still nothing, nothing tangible coming out of it. So he pulled the funds.
It was Tesla's greatest defeat.
Mm.
It was potentially his greatest moment.
If they had just backed them.
For humanity, it just would have been
a game changer completely. Imagine we had
where would we be now?
Well, yeah, it's easy to say, where will we be in 100 years? Like after having the internet for 100 years, where will we be? That's where we'd be then. Probably fucking extinct then. Actually, judging by how fucking toxic the internet is now.
Yeah, well, we're doing it in under 100 years.
Mm.
So, but anyway, it was all abandoned, and it was his biggest failure, which is so unfortunate.
Yeah, and then it wasn't until Tim Berners-Lee
in the 80s, and it was a military invention.
Yeah, DARPA,
the internet. Yeah.
The DARPAnet, as it was called then.
Yeah.
Or it was the ARPANET, and then became.
The internet was Tim Berners-Lee, and it was created for military use only.
Yep.
And then it was rolled out into what you know is your internet.
Yeah. Like everything starts as a military.
Or NASA.
Well, yeah.
Tesla claimed to have invented a death ray that could destroy over a large distance.
This was going to end all wars.
Yeah.
Because
fucking wood and everything. So I'm sure alarm bells didn't start ringing when he announced that.
Yeah. And actually also going back to, was it this one or was it the previous one? He had an investor friend of his who had invested or was going to invest money in one of his projects, and then he turned out that there was a catch that he would have to get involved in gun running to Bolivia or somewhere like that. So he's like, get away. No, I'm not doing that.
No, I know nothing about that.
Yeah, there was one of them, yeah. Turned out the money was coming from gun running in Bolivia.
Jesus Christ.
So he was like, whoop, not having anything to do with that. Bye.
Yep. Nope.
Yeah, so that fucking magical death ray that he was talking about, it turned out to be laser technology, didn't it? Basically.
I don't know.
It was a focused photon phase particle fucking beam. It's a laser. It's a chemical laser. But it
was it the Greeks that used a mirror thing to focus the sun and torch ships? Wasn't it the Greeks?
Yeah, that's not the same thing as this.
No, it's not. But it's the same thought.
Yeah.
Focus the beam.
Yeah. Focus light, but
so I'm not saying
chemical
you got it
laser,
from the
it's actual particles, so it's not
generated.
Light, but
ionized stuff.
Yeah. But basically, allegedly.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Ionized stuff is what I just said. That's my level of expertise on this, right?
Absolutely. Ionized gas, basically, yes. But allegedly there was a prototype developed that through various nefarious whatever ended up in the Soviet Union, but it came with the concise instructions that the death of the human race is essentially contained in this box, handled with care. So it was put in the very far reaches of a vault somewhere under the ground and left.
Didn't read or hear anything about that.
What, did you not?
No, nothing about it.
I came across on 2 documentaries this morning. But all of his other work and his kind of theories, his patents, whatever, his notes were all seized by the American government eventually, weren't they?
Yep.
Well, those that weren't burnt in the fire.
Well, he would have had a lot of stuff. I mean, before he died, and he died in 1943, January 7th, 1943.
80 odd years of age.
And he had moved from hotel to hotel.
Yeah,
for
he'd been
many
living in
years.
squalor.
Yeah.
And I think, am I right in saying it was Westonhouse who discovered him and they paid?
No, it was a
No?
maid. It was a maid discovered him. There was a do
I'm
not disturb sign on his door.
I'm not on about when he died. Talking about he was living in squalor, not even in a hotel. He was living in a flea pit somewhere.
Okay.
And it was Westonhouse who discovered him there and then paid for him to live in a hotel.
Used to give him a stipend,
Yeah.
like settled his bills, because
Yeah.
he used to run up a bill and then leg it without paying
Yeah.
in a hotel. And like do it to one hotel and I understand. But for another hotel, say, yeah, okay, come on.
I didn't know he was doing that. So, okay, right.
So,
But eventually,
but yeah.
anyway, they covered, I can't remember the name of the hotel he was staying in New York, but they covered it for him.
Westinghouse was, yeah, you're right. He settled his bills and then he was giving them money.
Yeah.
So he didn't live in abject squalor.
Yeah.
But he lived in, up to his death, he lived in hotel room to hotel room.
Actually, the more we talk about him and the more we go through the obsessive, all about the science, sinking every penny he had into the science and not taking any consideration for how he lived, he probably was on the autistic spectrum.
He only had a few close friends. He didn't know many people. And he quite often didn't talk to people for days, 6, 7, 8 days at a time.
Just completely hyper-focused.
And when he was discovered, when his body was discovered, it was discovered by the maid.
Yeah.
Who he'd had a do not disturb sign on the door and it'd been there for days. And she was like, look, I need to clean the fucking place.
Yeah.
And so she went in and it would have been as tentative as knocking on the door and hello, excuse me, and then went in and he was there. He was dead. Yeah, he was dead. So she was the one to discover him. Yeah.
So I mean, like, you know, what an inauspicious end to one of the greatest minds of our, I was going to say of our time, but a little bit before our time, but you know what I mean.
One of the greatest minds ever.
Ever.
Yeah. Ever. He endured many years of hardship, living in small hotels, which is everything we've just said. And the last years of his life, he used to go out and feed pigeons.
That's right, yeah. He used to use one little meager kind of food.
He was the old man in the
milk
park feeding the pigeons.
Was it milk and biscuits he was living on, and he would give half of that to the pigeons.
And if you see a picture of him when he was old, he looked very emaciated and not well fed and didn't look after himself.
Like he always had those high kind of Slavic cheekbones anyway, but they're really
but he was very drawn. Like
very drawn,
it was very sad.
You know, he didn't, and even now, like he doesn't have the legacy he deserves.
No, maybe
so
one day.
Hopefully, this podcast has gone a little bit towards, you know, a tiny little bit towards doing that. Giving him his...
Well, yeah, give him a... I'm not sure how much people will listen to our ignorance and go, yeah, fucking Tesla rocked.
Well, you know what they say? It's on the internet now forever.
That's
so
it.
It's on record.
After he died, the US government took ownership of Tesla's papers, which I kind of understand because he talked about creating a death ray that could kill at great distance.
All life on Earth.
Like, fucking hell, man.
Wonder what else he has there. Yeah, I think we better have a look at this stuff, you know.
There's pigeons over there need feeding, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, look, a squirrel. Take the papers.
Yeah. That's it. Fucking, so I don't know. But they wasted no time in impounding his effects.
Yeah.
Which I don't know when they were returned to the family, but they were returned. And they claim that some of them are still missing.
Yeah. Wonder, you know,
now,
the
unless
ones to do with
Tesla,
the internet went missing, bearing in mind DARPA.
Unless Tesla numbered the pages he was writing on. I mean, how do they know? Maybe sentence to sentence, you know.
From anything I've been, you know, kind of looking and, you know, any research I've done, he doesn't seem the most organised kind of guy, you know.
No.
So
should have drawn diagrams.
It's all in his head.
Hundreds of mourners turned out to pay their respects.
That's sad, actually, that Tesla. You know, he was so lonely in life, but then, yeah.
From your perspective, he was, but did he want close companions?
No.
You know,
I don't mean it that way. No, but I mean, as you said, he wouldn't talk to anyone for days. He didn't have many friends. he probably didn't realise the impact he had on a lot of people's life. You know, over
Well-
100 people turned up to his funeral. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
where
well-
would he? Where would he when he was living in squalor? Is
That's
essentially
it.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
well, you know, it's thoughts and prayers,
Mm.
all that kind of
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah. 3 Nobel Prize winners turned up as well. Like, so
Mm.
he was regarded.
3 people who probably won the fucking Nobel Prize by stealing his research.
They might have been working on it and said,
Actually, there's a podcast episode we should do. The villainy and fucking skullduggery of invention in the early 20th century.
well,
Because
we'll
there was so
look into
many
it.
fucking...
Yeah, look into it.
Like, we done Bone Wars. Do you remember Bone Wars?
Yeah.
I think
Those
an
two
invention version
fucking
could
idiots.
be really good. Yeah, I know.
Cope and Marsh.
Martian could Jesus well remember
yeah,
it. Yeah,
there you
it's
go.
Martian Cope, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking morons. Any family members of Cope and Marsh, I'm talking about your
Ancestors. They
ancestors.
were
Fucking
They were
idiots.
idiots. But come
Set us
here.
back decades.
That might be a good one to do. Bone Wars too. The inventors collide.
Yeah,
I'll have
we'll
a
do
think
something.
about it. I'll have a look and see if there's that in there. Anyway, let us know on the Facebook, on the YouTube, on the TikTok, on the Instagram, what you think. Should we do that?
I don't know whether he was annoyed with the people like the 3 Nobel Prize winners whose names I don't have and I don't want.
I'm
They said,
going to
like,
theorise and just randomly pull
when they
that
were given,
Einstein's probably one of them
and I don't know
because they were
who
friends,
it
weren't
was. I don't know who gave the eulogy.
they? I never mentioned the fucking Thomas Edison thing. Can I just interject there? Or not
Yeah.
Thomas Edison. Fuck, Huckleberry Finn, what's his name?
Oh, fucking
Fucking Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. Yeah, his good friend, Mark Twain, who probably gave his eulogy.
He idolised Mark Twain as a child, and his father used to go fucking ape shit. His younger brother died very young in an accident with a kicked by a horse, I believe.
Fell off a horse.
Fell off a horse or was
Yeah,
kicked by a
yeah.
horse, whatever. And his father never fully got over it, and you know, Nikola was never good enough
As
for
you
him
wouldn't. Yeah.
because he wasn't the other son. And he used to go fucking nuts when he'd catch him reading his private library. He was drawn to Mark Twain's books all the time, and he got many a beating for the privilege of reading Mark Twain's books. And when he told Mark Twain that story years later, Mark Twain broke down and sobbed.
I didn't read that.
Yeah.
But
so there you go.
What I did read, remember he said he did the whole, and I'll get into this afterwards because I want to go through some of Tesla's inventions.
Hmm.
The shadow, what was that fucking thing? Shadow graphs.
Yeah.
The shadow graphs,
They're the
and
precursor to X-rays.
it's thought that he discovered it before Röntgen got his Nobel Prize for, because he was trying to take an image in a glass fluorescent tube of Mark Twain.
Oh,
And
okay.
instead, he got an image of the screw that was used to adjust the lens. So
Right.
he'd inadvertently discovered
X-rays.
X-rays,
That's
which is
really
what is thought was the process.
Yeah.
But my point is, you were saying his good friend, Mark Twain, and he used to love read Mark Twain. It was Mark Twain whose image he was trying to capture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were
Okay,
good
I
mates.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
But anyway,
Mark Twain might be a good podcast subject down the line
oh
somewhere
yeah,
too.
definitely we'll do that at some
Yeah.
stage. Yeah. At his funeral,
Fascinating.
at Tesla's funeral, he was said to be one of the outstanding intellects in the world who's paved the way for many of the world's technological developments.
Absolutely. Look at the world we
Which
live
is
in today. We
true,
owe it
but he still died old and alone and poor in a
and
hotel room.
penniless.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Fucking horrible, yeah.
these people turning out and
Yeah.
he was a
But
fucking
anyway,
great man.
yeah, but come here, listen, look what he gave the world. Should he be celebrated or denigrated? Bastard gave us wireless connectivity there. The reason we walk around with our fucking heads in our phones.
Well, that's not his
You know,
fault.
And the reason you're now listening to this podcast, he's great. He's great.
That's our fault.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
That's not on
Can't
him.
blame the inventor.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tesla's most important inventions.
Okay.
The Tesla coil.
Yeah, now, is that the big thing with all the lightning coming out of it? Was that that famous photograph of him sitting underneath this big fucking thing? And it's like,
I think it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I was getting to with his birth happening during a violent electrical storm. I just thought was really prescient.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know how that's, superstition.
I know, don't mean superstition. I just mean, it's a nice bookend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
like, not in any way superstitious
But
at all, but
the
just,
Tesla
just a nice
coil,
bookend.
which is used to produce a high voltage, low current, high frequency, alternating current of electricity.
Yeah. So basically, your copper wire wrapped around a pencil that increased resistance increases the voltage.
I don't know. As
God,
I was
know
going to
about
say,
electricity.
and it hasn't occurred up to this point, this episode is going to be regularly interspersed with the sound of shoo, because something has gone right over my
our
head.
fucking heads.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, this is...
Yeah,
and
it's over.
Like, I don't want to labour the point, but this is the fucking epitome of we're not the experts because we are...
This is a super example
of, I mean,
of the name of the fucking podcast.
Little to know. I mean, even though I have a degree in IT and I've worked in IT, I've worked as an IT engineer. That it's basically when you open a computer, it's a fucking jigsaw. You take pieces out, you put pieces in. I've no fucking understanding of how they work or why they work.
It's
how
like
to
I said,
parts, and that's it. You know what
it's
I mean?
like I said at the beginning. I was Googling Tesla's inventions and then Googling how they worked and what they did, and I ended up
more confused
tagging on to my Google search for idiots.
Yeah.
For beginners. Because
exactly.
I just couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm sure there are people listening in who do understand how electricity works and have become those two fucking idiots.
Yep.
But no, as Dell says, I turn on the switch and it works, and that's all I know about electricity. That's
all I know. I paid the bill and it keeps working.
Oh, shit, Dell, we've not talked about like one of his most significant achievements.
Which was?
The Niagara hydroelectrical plant. Did we even go there?
No.
Let's do that before we wrap up. I think it's kind of important.
I still have all his inventions to do.
But I think that's kind of important.
Time. Yeah, so go.
He basically invented or came up with the idea of hydro-generated electricity.
Yeah, hydroelectric power.
That one wasn't wasn't one that was going to be given to the world for free.
Yeah.
Shall we say? So he got plenty of investment for that. And it resulted in the first ever hydroelectrical power plant at Niagara Falls.
Yeah, that's right.
Upstate New York, I believe. So and that's still today.
Is Niagara Falls? That's not in upstate New York.
Yeah, you see, that's
fucking Canada, isn't it?
One side of it is.
Right, okay.
The other side is in America, but I can't New York doesn't border Canada, does it?
No.
Because this is the second time this week I've heard reference to Niagara in New York. It must do. It must be because there was something else I was watching or reading and it was talking about upstate New York, Niagara. I don't know. But anyway, his hydroelectric station at Niagara Falls still provides power to New York today.
Niagara Falls is a group of 3 waterfalls at the southern end of Niagara Gorge, spanning the border between province of Ontario, Canada, and the state of New York in the United States.
There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't think New York fucking bordered Canada, but there you go.
Nope.
I wouldn't be mad up on me fucking US geography now, in fairness,
You can cut the term US out of that sentence, and that's me.
Yeah.
I'm not mad up on geography.
Are you not? Now, I'd be okay at geography, but I don't know.
Hang on. Wasn't it you that kept getting confused with the Indian tsunami?
And the ties of it. Yes.
No, not the fucking...
The Indonesian
Fukushima
one.
and the Pacific one.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Work on their geography.
That's not geography, that was history. That was two...
It's all part
two
of the
distinct events that I had merged into one.
Yeah.
It's more history than geography. I failed there. But... Jesus Christ.
Okay.
But but isn't it mad to think though that like his invention, not just something that he built, like something that he actually invented, is still providing power to New York City.
That's what we said earlier in the podcast.
That's nuts,
he's like, there's still everything that
even the stuff that he didn't manage to bring to fruition at the time because the technology or the scientific will didn't exist in 1900.
Or either.
Now has been taken and brought to fruition by others now.
His,
as you said, Wi-Fi. Faxtel was another one. He wanted to, with his global communications tower that he was talking about, he had come up with a way to hook a printer up to it. That you could actually, print out what was being sent wirelessly to this tower. So that was your
Yeah.
You know,
Wireless
early day
technology.
fax. That was fax, you know.
Wireless technology in 1900.
1900, yeah.
Fuck that.
And the rest of the world went,
And his
nah, there's no
Marconi,
practical use for that.
Marconi, who did his long-range radio transmission,
Yeah.
was using Tesla's
6 of the
equipment.
components were actually
Tesla.
patented by Tesla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Got
I
no
mean,
credit
all
for it.
credit to Marconi, but don't forget about your massive honorable mention
Yeah.
of all the shit that you used was Tesla's.
Mm.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking genius. Brilliant.
Marconi essentially assembled a Meccano kit that had been built by Tesla and then called it his own invention. Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay, I'm not taking away from Marconi at all because I know nothing about it.
Nikola Tesla fucking invented radio. And the telephone and the internet and the
the magnifying transmitter,
and Wi-Fi,
which
and AC.
was reportedly allowed the lighting of fluorescent bulbs up to
50 miles away.
Yeah, multiple kilometers away.
Class.
Yeah,
class.
Fucking deadly. Tesla turbine, right? The Tesla turbine. Did you?
Yes, it's a bladeless turbine.
Yeah.
Designed that.
Rotors thing. Yeah. The piston engine is the one that rose to prominence that we all know.
Yeah.
Tesla used it to drive his own turbine, the Tesla turbine.
Yeah.
And it increased fuel efficiency up to 90%. Apparently some say it's only 60%, but up to 90%. Okay. And we currently only get a 42% return on the conversion rate in combustion engines.
Right. It was
more than possibly
doubling.
Up to double that.
Yeah.
And it obviously got lost because combustion engines.
Yeah, it was.
It makes more sense.
It was poo-poo,
It makes more sense economically to have something that breaks down a little more frequently.
Yeah.
Or doesn't have as good a conversion rate from energy, from fuel to energy kind of thing.
And uses more fuel.
Yeah.
Because you're selling the fuel as well as the engine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Capitalism.
I mentioned shadow graphs that Röntgen got the Nobel Prize for in, what did I say it was, 1901?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, something like that. And the evidence that Nikola Tesla may have produced the first X-ray image. As I was saying only a few minutes ago, he was attempting to use a vacuum tube to capture an image of Mark Twain, who was his good mate.
Yeah.
Which must have been a real feather in the cap for Tesla. Having read all his books and got beaten.
Having hero wars.
Got beaten for it, and then it's my buddy.
They say never made your heroes, but obviously in Mark Twain's case,
come on home to what will be Croatia and meet me dad.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
I'm sure he didn't.
I don't know. So you're the fucker that beat my friend for reading my books.
Again, I have to make an apology for Paul's accents.
I thought that was quite a good Southern American accent, if I do say so myself.
Okay, stop it. My God. I'm going to write a list of I'm going back through all our episodes. I'm going to write a list of all the countries that you haven't done impressions of.
All the countries I owe apologies to.
No, that'd be a longer list than the ones you haven't. Right. Okay.
I owe apologies to countries that haven't been invented yet.
As I was saying, he was trying to take a picture of his mate Mark Twain, but instead he captured an image of the screw that was used to move the lens.
Yeah.
So he inadvertently had created X-rays.
I'm assuming that was inside something.
Yeah.
So he had photographed through the outer layer of the camera or whatever. Yeah. It's bizarre.
And then we mentioned the radio that Marconi got his long-range transmission, got the credit for, but he was using Tesla
6
oscillators.
Of his patents,
the oscillators, to get the frequency. So, well, even if he didn't stand up and say, thanks very much, lads, but all credit goes to Tesla, it's recorded in history.
Yeah,
people can see it,
Absolutely.
So it's
and he would have had to pay to use those because they were patented, so.
Yeah.
He wasn't using them illegally,
I would
imagine.
His best one for me was the alternating current.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Now, I have to say, the best one was his big terror.
Wi-Fi,
Even though it was his greatest failure, that was potentially, had the potential to fucking blow everything away.
Oh, absolutely.
It was, that was going to be
he was
incredible.
on it. He was on it, like he hit it.
Yeah.
But it was just the world
his
wasn't
best one that
ready
did happen for me was alternating current.
Obviously, yeah.
He didn't invent AC power, but he made it easy to use widely. And I think that was the important part of it.
Yeah, he made it viable.
AC power allows for electricity to be sent over long distances more efficiently.
Yeah.
As we said earlier, it was Westinghouse that bought Tesla's patent.
Patents.
Yeah, patents to Chicago World. This is what we were saying earlier
This is
on.
the one I
To
was
the
talking about
Chicago
earlier, yeah.
World's Fair at a cost of 150,000, less than DC would have
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah,
And that was that for DC.
that was it, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not
The
DC
end of
Comics.
Edison, really. You know?
Direct current electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking mental. Absolutely mental.
Love it.
The more I read about it, the more I admired him.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like,
Yeah.
this, you know, just sitting here talking about him today is really, you know,
Yeah.
put him on a pedestal for me. Like, that's class.
Yeah. Now,
Great guy.
I'm
I'd
not-
heard of him. I knew about him and the Edison stuff. Beyond that, I didn't know fuck all till I started looking into this, you know.
I didn't know about the Edison stuff in that he had an ongoing conflict with him, and Edison did such fucking shite things just to discredit him.
I know, but even the light bulb is apparently stolen from Tesla. Apparently.
I don't know.
Well, that was the only thing I knew about Nikola Tesla before I started researching this, was that Thomas Edison stole the light bulb from him.
I heard before. I don't know how much I believed it. And I mean, as I was saying earlier, had it been Tesla credited with the light bulb, there'd be some quarters there.
Maybe,
Hang on. There'd be some quarters there saying, well, you know, he didn't fucking...
He stole
and
from Edison.
There's always something.
Yeah,
There's always an angle.
I know, but given what Tesla went on to achieve and given what Edison went on to not achieve, you know?
No, Edison was a fucking inventor in his own right, as was Westinghouse, as were many others that we haven't mentioned.
Was Westinghouse not more just an investor?
No, he was, and it was like you said, he was a real philanthropic guy as well.
Yeah,
I mean, he bought Tesla's patents, realizing the potential.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not like he was a money man who didn't know shit.
No,
he was switched on as well. Again, that's not a pun, but there you go.
Switched.
Yeah, I'm 2 for 2 today.
You're wired, Dale. You're wired.
Yeah, no, you're not even getting a score for that. So fucking
Ambyway.
Right, okay. You're getting demoted a mark for that one. So fucking Nikola fucking Tesla. And
that was
I'm not going to go out.
Episode. I enjoyed that.
Stop trying, man, because you're just digging yourself a hole. I'm not going to go out and read any more into it because the amount of headaches I had trying to understand them. One thing I realized was there is no way I'm an inventor of any kind. And that I invent you should stay the fuck away from.
I did technically invent something. I'm going to give it away because I'm never ever going to actually bring this thing to fucking prototype. So if anyone out there wants to take this and run with it, by all means. We were in, I don't know, fucking junior cert science, and we were talking about how different liquids and stuff react to each other.
Yeah.
And there was two that when you mix them together, they fucking produce a cooling effect.
Okay.
Right? So I was thinking, well, why don't you make a little attachment that goes on the end of a plastic bottle or a can with like fucking 2 compartments, one with each liquid, and you pull a tab and the liquids mix and you've got instantly cold drink.
I've taken water out of the freezer before. I was in Barcelona with my brother to see the MotoGP, brother and my nephew. And it was roasting out, and you're sleeping on top of the bed. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
And before we all crashed out, I put a 2 litre of water in the freezer. And my brother was saying that'll be frozen in the morning. I was like, it will, but
it'll be defrosted by the time we drink it, though.
When it defrosts, it'll still be fucking cold. And I took it out of the freezer in the morning, and it was still liquid. And I opened the bottle, and the bottle had never been opened. And I opened the bottle, and ice ran from the top to the bottom. It solidified.
Wow, never seen that happen before.
It's, and I don't know how to explain it, but
it was the carbon.
It wasn't fizzy.
Okay.
It was. It's.
That's bizarre.
Well, I'm sure it can be explained, and I'm sure it has been explained.
It was the oxygen
and I'm
mixing
sure
with the water.
there are videos on the internet But air is a fluid.
Yeah.
And obviously water is a fluid, a heavier fluid.
Yeah.
And them interacting.
Cause the freezing effect.
Yeah, maybe.
There you
I
go.
don't know. I'm not explaining your invention. I'm
No,
just
no,
saying
no.
this
No, these
happened.
are two specific chemicals. I don't know can't remember what they were now.
Right.
But again, probably not great for the environment either to have all
Okay.
these plastic
Ladies
fucking
and gentlemen,
chemical
I've
filled
invented this
devices.
thing that gives you instant and cold drinks, but
Also
it's
causes
hazardous
cancer.
to health.
Yeah, it also causes cancer.
Okay. I've got this
Positive.
toothpaste that whitens your teeth, but
But
they'll fall out a couple
it'll
hours
kill
later.
you though. But it'll kill you.
But
You'll
in your
enjoy your
open
cold
coffin,
beer.
you'll have great teeth.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no,
Enjoy your
I'm
cold
not an
beer.
inventor.
You've got 10 minutes to live. Well, no, hang on. We were allowed to mix this stuff in first year science. I don't think it's...
So obviously it's not dangerous.
It's clearly not dangerous.
But this was the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, true, actually.
So,
well,
yeah.
the early 90s, yeah. True.
Yeah, so you never know. Anyway,
So anyone got any good inventions, let us know. We promise not to steal them.
so that's him. Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, I've got an absolutely newfound respect for that guy.
Yeah, totally. I'm not going to research
Yeah.
anymore because I told you about the headaches I had. I was
Yeah.
like, fuck this.
Now, I have to say as well, Del, full disclosure here, I texted you this morning and went, I'm nervous about this podcast because I know fucking no, I can't understand the research I'm doing. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Well, I guarantee
I
at the end of the
enjoyed that in the
podcast,
end.
you still know nothing.
No, I'm no wiser as to what his inventions actually fucking are.
How he did
I
them.
do, yeah, how he invented them or, but I can absolutely appreciate the fucking, that my life is easier because of them.
Yeah. Like,
know?
how from a place of nothing, like when I'm animating and I have to create a character or something, the worst thing
It's
for
a
an
blank
animator
page.
to sit and look at is a blank page.
Oh,
You're like,
fucking yeah.
fuck.
God.
And you find your way. How from nothing do you make an invention?
Yeah. How do you even come to have such an understanding of something that you can't see? Like you can't see electricity. Okay, obviously
Well,
you see
it's
lighting.
not even electricity
stuff.
because people had been messing around with electricity. But how do you say this thing needs
Refining,
this
essentially,
needs me to invent this kind of thing to
that will
make it
this
better?
Yeah.
It doesn't
It's like-
it doesn't compute
No.
with me. I'm like,
and it
what?
doesn't for me
No.
either.
Yeah.
Like,
and look, we can talk about this for hours.
I mean, they say necessity is the mother of all invention. I think you could probably fucking refute that in Tesla's case because he didn't just invent new stuff. He invented new stuff that literally made shit of what was already fucking there. We thought we had these great inventions, and he comes along and goes, "That's crap.
Right,
I can
okay,
do that
okay.
much better."
Okay, you said
And-
necessity is the mother of all invention.
Yeah.
But I think, and I don't claim to know anything more about him than I've just said.
Yeah.
He saw the necessity, and this is all inventors. They see the necessity
Yeah.
that no one else saw.
Yeah. Normally, but
he
with Tesla, he
pictured-
didn't though, because he's looking at fucking direct current and going, "That's shit. I can do that better. Here's a better one. Here's alternative current." Right? Fucking then he's looking at fucking, fucking wired undersea cable, fucking telegraphy, and he's going, "Why do you need fucking wires? I can do that without wires."
Yeah.
He was more about making shit way better than it took great minds to invent these things. And then he's gone
No, I
that
think he was just saying we
here's
can
a
do better.
way better bit.
Yeah.
Here's a way better way to do that,
Yeah. Anyway, we can talk about this all day.
So
but
for me, that was the level of his intelligence, that he saw ways of doing things that the great minds missed completely. He was able to think outside the box enough to go, you know what? Try it this way.
maybe they had tenure, and then that was that.
That was class. He was deadly.
Anyway, for the third time, we could talk about this all day.
I
but let's
actually,
tie it up.
that is the bizarre thing. I was worried that I wouldn't have anything to fucking say today because I didn't know much about Tesla and I didn't understand half of his fucking theories. Wow, I could talk all day about this guy
Right.
now.
I don't particularly want to.
No,
But
no,
yeah,
it's time to
no,
wrap up
so,
and say goodbye.
Anyway,
Hmm.
that's it. Yeah,
Really
Nikola
enjoyed
fucking
that. That was
Tesla.
really good. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I enjoyed talking and learning. I've learned some stuff today, which is good.
Yeah.
It's always good to
Learn
learn.
something
Every
new
day's a
every
school day.
Like, share, and subscribe.
And we'll see you next time to learn some
See
more
yous
stuff, hopefully.
next time.
See you next time.